Hey guys, it's Olivia and welcome back to my channel. This video is long overdue, meaning I should have filmed this video a month ago. Okay, but life happened, but I'm here now. It's okay. I'm also going to be filming the Old Plot Points and Masquerade video today. So, 2 uploads because I should have filmed this Q&A video very long time ago. So I got a couple of questions for this Q&A, which means the world to me. I didn't think I'd get any questions, but I did get a good amount. So this will be good. So if you guys want to know more about me as the author or a little bit more about my books, this is a good video to watch, kind of like as an introduction. If you don't want to scroll all the way down to my introduction video I filmed back a year ago. So yeah, let's have some fun. Let's do this and let's get on with the questions. All right, so the first question I got asked, or the first one I wrote down all of them because I got them on my Discord and on my YouTube comments. So the first question that I got is, which author do I take the most inspiration from? Now this is really hard because there are a lot of authors I have taken inspiration from. But I would say a lot of the authors, I think there's 3 that I take a lot of inspiration from, and they are the authors of some of my favorite books of all time. So first is Mitch Albom. If you don't know who Mitch Albom is, he is, I think, an adult author. He writes some contemporary. He also has written historical fiction. He wrote Little Liars. Look that up if you don't know what that is. He wrote Tuesdays with Morrie. He wrote One Day. I actually started reading him at a very young age. I think I was like 8 because I found one of his books in my mom's drawer and I was bored. So I read the whole thing. It's The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. And that book changed me fundamentally. I still remember a lot from that book and I really want to reread it. I was at least 8 or 9 when I read that. And I understood it. I mean, I thought it was a very good book and I reread it many times. I don't have a copy anymore. But besides the point, Mitch Albom has just this amazing writing style. And you really get to know the character even though, like, I don't know if he has any series or anything. But you get to really know the character, and that has really helped me in reading and writing. Also, it's just, I love the way he explains the characters. Like, for example, I forget what this book is called. I think it was The Timekeeper. Very good book. And there was this one character, I think it was Sarah. I think that's her name. And she really, like, I read it sometime last year, and she really, like, her character development really inspired me. And I got really into her character as well as the other characters in that book. So Mitch Albom is definitely a big one, especially for me writing character development. So, yeah. The second character that I'm really, really into, author that really inspires me is Suzanne Collins. Suzanne Collins is, if you don't know, which I would be shocked if you didn't, she wrote the Hunger Games series. And she was very inspiring to me I think I read this series fully when I was 15. So, like, as a 15-year-old reading that series and, like, having everything, like, she's very good at fast-paced action. She's very good at also character and unreliable narrator. All things that I've gotten better with once I've read her books. Her books have also extremely inspired me. In case you can't tell, Exposed is a lot of Hunger Games vibes as well as the rest of my series. So she really inspired me, especially with Government too. She helped me figure out, well, her books, I guess. Not she, I don't know Suzanne Collins. I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm making sense. But her world building was so inspiring to me. And it made me figure out, like, okay, like, we need reasons as to why this is happening. And some things can be left up to the reader as well. Hunger Games is a pro, I feel like, at leaving things up to the reader, especially when it comes to world building and theories. And that is how I write my series. And that really, really inspired me. So, yeah, Suzanne Collins is definitely another one. The last author I draw a lot of inspiration from is, what's his name? I think it's Marcus something. I forget his last name, but he wrote The Book Thief. I'm going to put his name here when I edit because I have the book on my bookshelf. I just don't want to walk over and look at it. So, his name's going to be here. His books, I read Bridge of Clay and I read The Book Thief. Book Thief I reread every year. I still have to go do my yearly reread of that. And I also read Bridge of Clay this year. I cry every time. He's very good at writing these emotional scenes, as well as making you feel for the characters, especially in Bridge of Clay. Bridge of Clay was a ride. That's all I'm going to say to that. I was not okay after reading Bridge of Clay. But yeah, he has really helped me too, like, write those character emotions and get into that area, like that headspace of like, okay, this is how you feel in the character. And I really liked that book, Book Thief, and that really helped change my writing style, I feel. So the second question I got was, what age did I decide that I wanted to write professionally? Now, I wouldn't call this professional, quote unquote. I am self-publishing, but I have not hired a professional editor in years. I think it was 2 years. I hired one for my first draft for the first couple pages. I do everything myself. Most of it I do myself. I have some outside help. I have a writing teacher who helps me out, and she helps edit. But otherwise, I'm doing all the marketing, I'm doing all the writing, I'm doing most of the editing. The only thing that I really haven't done for Masquerade specifically is the cover and some of the editing, but I do everything. And I wouldn't really call that, I guess it is professional in a way, but I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't really call this professional because I'm 17, which answers one of my other questions. They asked how old I was. I am 17. I am a teenager. I don't have a bunch of experience yet, right? I've been writing books, novels, since I was 14 years old, which answers, like, how long have I wanted to do this professionally? And I would say 13 or 14. But I don't really call this a big professional thing because I just haven't learned everything yet, you know? Like, there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be things I haven't caught. I'm still learning how to edit correctly. And I think that's fine. That makes the work just so much better. And yeah, I mean, like, I guess it is professional since I do have it on Amazon and I am working on getting signing events and things like that and doing all my marketing. So I guess it is professional in that sense. But, I mean, there's going to be things I haven't caught and I'm still learning. So, I mean, like, if you want to support a young author or if you're a young author yourself, I really hope that I can help out with that. Hopefully. I hope that answered the question. I don't know if that makes sense. Next question I got was about my education. The person who asked this assumed I had an English degree. I do not. I am a senior in high school. I want to go into college for creative writing and get a major in creative writing as well as psychology. And I'm applying to colleges that will help me get to that goal. But otherwise, I am in my last year of high school. I have been writing since I was, I think, 8th grade. I want to say 8th grade, but I'm pretty sure it's 8th grade, maybe even longer. I think it was 6th grade when I wrote my 7th grade when I finished my first novel, quote unquote. I hand wrote a 40-page story that was basically copy and pasted from Warrior Cats. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm so sorry, but I think we all had that Warrior Cats fanfic phase. That was mine. And yeah, so that's my education. I am a senior in high school. So yeah, it's fun. So now these questions are going to be a little bit more fun because one of my besties asked me these questions. She asked me 4 questions and I love her so much. She's the one who drew the cover of Masquerade. Hold on, I have it right here. Look at this cover. Just look at this cover. Then everybody give my friend a round of applause. Brenna. Yeah, and she will be also getting a lot of recognition. She has a whole page in my book. So if you want to buy my book and support a young artist as my friend, find her on her Instagram here. Anyway, so she asked me all these questions and I love her so much. She's great. Okay, so the first question she asked me was my favorite character. And that's, again, a question I really can't answer because I have so many. Like, what? But my favorite character, this is hard for me. Favorite. I'm gonna take a minute to think about this. 1 second. Okay, so instead of saying my favorite, I've decided I'm gonna do my top 3. So my first one probably would be Persephone. And everybody's going to be looking at me like, what is up with you? Actually, why do you like Persephone? And my main reason for that is just because writing her is such an interesting time. Like, she, especially in her point of view, she is a very psychologically complex character. And I really like the complexity of her character. And my other characters also have that complexity, but as a villain, as someone where I have to think a little bit deeper into her motivations and make them, like, shown to the reader, yeah, like, that is so much fun for me, especially since she doesn't seem it when you're outside her point of view, but when you're in her point of view, and I guess you could tell that this from Exposed, she's very emotionally driven, which people will be like, what? No, she's not. But yes, she is. Like, most of her stuff is driven from, like, either her anger, rage, or other things like that. So Persephone is probably my first one with that. Next favorite character, I'm gonna have to say Nathaniel. Okay, I have to say Nathan. Nathan's so great. I love him so freaking much. You have no idea. He actually used to be my least favorite character. Just a couple short years ago, when I finished my first draft of Masquerade, he was my least favorite character. But he's changed for the better, and I feel like he has become who he was meant to be in the series. He's very flirty, very laid back, so everything I wish I could be. He's great, and I love him so much. So that would definitely be a favorite for me. And then my last one, this is hard. For, like, another character, I honestly just love all of them equally, but I'm trying to think of, like, if I have, like, another one that really stands out to me. I want to say one that hasn't been introduced yet, but I can't do that. So I'm gonna go with Harold. Okay, people are my friends especially are gonna look at me and be like, are you serious, Olivia? And most of my friends don't like Harold, and I don't understand that. But Harold is probably one of my favorite characters. Because he's very similar to how I can get. Like, he's very analytical, and I like writing that analytical. And also, every single time I write his part, he is weirdly poetic, and that just comes out, and I love it. I really do. Like, every single time I write his part and that comes out, I'm like, yes, Harold, yes! I'm very I love Harold, and I hope you guys will like him in this draft, too. Like, he's great. So, yeah, that's my top three favorite characters. Next question I got was, what was the character that relates most to me? Now, all my characters, every single one that you see, has a piece of me in them. Every single one. It could be a personality trait, it could be even looks, it could be motivations. Like, there are certain things in every single character that stem straight from me and my personality. So I relate to all my characters in different ways. But the one that relates most to me, one that I like to say is literally me, is Atlas. And everything, like, literally, he is me. As a guy, if I would, he's me. He is me. And everybody, like, I don't know how to explain this, but he is quite literally, if I was in the Experiment series as a character, I would be Atlas. No way. And the reason for that is because he's very emotional, like I am. He tends to overreact like I do. And also he's very protective, and he also has that older sibling energy, which I am an oldest sibling, so I relate way too much to that. And he's like my favorite, like one of my favorite characters as well. But he's the one I definitely relate most to. Just because he is a little chaotic. Well, not chaotic, but he is a little messy. He tends to overreact. He's very real to me. And not that my other characters aren't. It's just like, he's the one that is most like me, personality-wise and other ways. So, yeah, Atlas for that one. So then my friend asked me this question, and I kind of knew this question was coming. So she asked me, what characters resemble my friends the most and why? So I'm going to be name dropping some people. If you do not want your name dropped, if any of my friends end up seeing this and you don't want your name dropped, well, too bad. I can re-upload this and bleep out your name. I really don't care. Just let me know. Anyways, So, I'm trying to think about where I should go with this because I don't want to offend anyone, but I feel like I might. So, I'm just gonna go through some things that go off the top of my head. So first of all, my friend Brenna, she's the cover artist, right? She is so amazing. The character, and she's the one who asked all these questions, so I'm obviously, like, gonna go through her first. But probably the character that she reminds me most of is so hard. I want to I gotta think about this. Oh, I'm gonna think about this because I literally did not prepare a script for this. Okay, moment of contemplation over. She does remind me of Harold. Harold is one of her favorite characters, but she does really remind me of Harold. And the reason for that is they're both, like, very analytical in a way. Like, they're able to break, like, Harold and my friend Brenna, they're able to break things down. And it's very impressive. Like, and then also, like, they both have, like, that dry, like, I wouldn't say dry sense of humor because Brenna sometimes has a dry sense of humor. But I feel like Harold does too. Like, they're both, I feel like they're very similar to each other in certain ways, and it's very funny to me. And they're also both really interested in psychology, and Harold in Masquerade is going for a psychology major, technically, what would be considered a major in the Experiment series world. So there's that. I mean, like, yeah, that's what I think. And then I have another friend, her name's Nora. She created Joel. She's probably one of my best friends, I would say. We were just so chill together. I love her so much. But if she sees this, which she doesn't usually watch my long forms, but if she does end up seeing this, the character I relate most to her probably would be, gotta think about this one, like, for a second. I wouldn't say Joel. I would like to say Persephone for that one, to be honest with you. Like, not because she's an evil maniac. She is not. She is so sweet. But she can also be so direct. She is, like, the opposite of me in so many ways. Like, she's very direct. She's very math and science-y. And she's amazing. I would like to say Persephone for that just because, number one, Persephone did technically adopt Joel. And he exposed before Joel kind of, like, died, you know? So, I mean, Nora is so sweet. And she also reminds me a lot of Clover as well. And a lot of, like, I feel like, yeah, she reminds me a lot of Clover just because of, like, she's very kind. She's very sweet. And she's just, you know, she's great. I love her. And then I have my friend Rita. Rita helped edit a lot of the Experiment series first drafts. And she is, like, my bestest friend ever. Like, one of mine. She's a mix of Atlas and Trinity. She is such a Trinity. Like, you have no idea. She once slammed me against a wall because of a plot point. It was consensual. Like, I was kind of like, haha, you won't do this. And she did. And now it's an inside joke. And no, she didn't. She wasn't mean about it. I promise. She's just an amazing person. And she's just a mix of Atlas and Trinity. And I can see both sides of that every single time I see her. And it gives me whiplash. It gives me so much whiplash. And then lastly, we have my friend Colleen. And she, who is she? I feel like she'd be a Trinity. Like, in certain circumstances, she could be a Trinity. She doesn't like Trinity, and I hate to say this to her, but she reminds me of Trinity sometimes in certain things that she does. Like, she can be very, like, defensive, which I think is a good thing. But she could be defensive. And then I also think she is a lot... What other characters is she most like? I'm, like, going through my head what other characters. And she can also be a bit of a Clover. She can definitely be a bit of a Clover. Like, she's also very sweet, very kind. And she can also have a bit of Atlas mixed in as well. But Trinity, with, like, her sense of humor and, like, her direct... She's also kind of direct as well. So, like, with that part of her personality... She has some Trinity traits, but I feel like she's mostly a Clover or an Atlas. So, yeah. The last question I got was, what was my favorite book in the Experiment series to write? Third book. Book 3. I'm almost done with my second draft of it. It's either book 3, which I'm changing a lot of. So, like, book 3, like, hope draft 1-ish. Draft 2 is not my favorite. It's never my favorite. But book 3, draft 1, or this. This was so much fun to write. I lost sleep over this. So, this or book 3. And maybe even book 4 or 5. I feel like book 4, I'm gonna like writing this next draft of. So, yeah. And that was all the questions I had. Thank you all so much for tuning in and listening to me ramble and talk. And I hope I answered some of your questions.